where do we go from here, right? We got 14 expiring contracts that we'll talk about in the second half of this episode. We've got, like people are saying in the comments here, right? Like a lot more buzz around a possible coaching change, even though, like you said, past 3 seasons, Pat Noonan is the most winningest coach in the regular season. Competition's not so much. What gets us over the hump? There's just a lot of looming things going on right now.
Part of it's luck, man. Like I feel like honestly, it's just gelling at the right time, having guys that don't have injuries, that aren't on international breaks. But like I think at minimum, it's a fight, a will that like I don't care if we're the most talented team or not the most talented team. Like we're gonna go out there and we're gonna bust our balls for 90 plus minutes. And I hate to say it, it's lacking this season. And who keeps those players accountable? I think we need a leader, a true leader that keeps players accountable on the field. Pat can do only so much in his talks, but if you make a mistake, you better be worried that, hey, X person is going to come after you and say, don't do that again.
So Ryan, here in the comments, we've got somebody saying every year we put little effort into winning U.S. Open Cup when we, played in it, CONCACAF, Leagues Cup, and then under the excuse of, we're going to focus on the MLS Cup and the MLS playoffs, right? And then transitioning from that kind of statement into playing hero ball, right? It fails us in the end. Again, we saw this with Lucho, right? It doesn't win you in the playoffs. It doesn't win you cup competitions when you have 1 or 2 or 3 guys trying to do it by themselves. So what do you have to say to both of those?
First part is more, again, like a focus on competitions. Like Pat tries to win every match that he can. That's just his style of coaching. In the regular season, he's not going to throw out, 19-year-olds like some other teams do to give them experience. But that's kind of to our detriment, because when push comes to shove and we have injuries and we're down the stretch, and you need those guys to be confident. And I feel like our bench, although on paper looks solid compared to prior years, they sometimes lack in confidence when they actually do get an opportunity to come in and to contribute in a big way. So a shift in focus from that, but again, like on the right things, whether it is like fight for every single ball, like make it simplify, like kind of what we want to do. Is it go for the shield, or is it go for the cup, or is it go for every single competition we're in? I think that's easy to say, but like now the players have to want it as much as we want it. And I just feel like in some aspects, like they don't value Leagues Cup as much, or they're not going to value US Open Cup as much, or how do we get our foreign players to buy into MLS Cup more? And showing them that's what we actually want. But again, it's all about like what we want. They have to want it just as much, and find the right set of guys that can play for each other. I honestly think that's what comes down to it.
Well, you see clubs, right, in back-to-back seasons that saying again here in the comments, right? Like these other teams in the East have gone through adversity last year. New York Red Bulls, right, to the final, right? The adversity they went through in the regular season and then showed up at the right time. New York City FC, right, just upset the number 1 seed in the entire MLS.
That's what it's so like. It's hard to wrap my brain around. Like this is obviously the way that this league is set up, but you could be the best team all season long in over 8 months. That's a huge accomplishment to be that high and to win that many games. But it doesn't matter like at all if for 2 months you don't find it consistently and you just go on a bad stretch and you're out, or a team finds it and they gel and they just get lucky and they find their way through. Like that's where I think the conversation needs to be switched. And we said it on the last episode, a schedule change in the way that we're going to create divisions and a break in the season. Like I think you're going to see maybe more value as we align with more of the rest of the world are we going to see more value in Supporters Shield? This country is all about playoffs, like for every other sport. Whatever change, that's the question. But if it is going to stay this way, then find ways to get guys going when it matters the most. Or is it just kind of fluky in some ways? Like there's a lot of ways to look at it. Your other question about hero ball is interesting, because I really thought about this a lot. We've seen it now with 2 kind of different alphas. Okay. We had it with Lucho and we saw hero ball. Now it's not just solely Evander, but
Yeah, it's
it
multiple
comes down
guys. Yeah.
to it does come down to, though, if our big guys don't step up, Sam, what else do we have?
Hmm.
And where, like, Evander was gone in the postseason, but Brenner carried us through. Like, that was a moment. So it wasn't just in that, but like he's like our high dollar guy. How do we make the most out of roster spot 18? A guy that is fighting for a contract and can come in and contribute in a meaningful way. That's when we win. That's when that guy wants to come in and leave everything on the pitch. That's when we win. Like, we need our top end guys to be in and committed, but we need everyone else to be that way as well. And I think, I hate to say it, this ownership's great. We spend a ton of money on the players that are very, very good. But if those guys don't click, we've seen it now in two different eras where it's led to problems. So is that a system issue then, Sam?
I know that's the question, right? More to blame coaching or the top end players, and um, obviously you can't fault the scouting because the top end players have performed. Denke performed this season, right? He scored meaningful goals this season. What was it? 8 game winning goals, right?
Yep.
9 game winning goals he had. So contributed. Evander, obviously MLS MVP level during the regular season. Lucho, unbelievable. Brenner, unbelievable when he was with us. Vasquez, right? Like all these guys, Bupenza, even shortly, when he was with us. I mean, it almost you want to point the finger a little bit at the coaching because you as a coach, right? You it's your job to get guys to gel, right? The players are showing up. They are who they are, right? They're bringing their personality, their tendencies, everything like that. Is your job to mold them to your system, right? Or mold the system to them. And we've been molding the system to them, and that's been
Yeah.
the issue.
Yeah, that, or like, Denke was brought in to be the striker for Lucho, and Lucho was gone. So is Evander and Denke the right fit together? We're going to talk about that later. But I think if you really look at, the Evander, the Denke, the Brenner situation, and the top end talent, like I see a comment here about, having players playing against each other for personal records rather than championships. Like, sometimes are we out there just trying to, score goals to get our next move instead of actually, playing for each other? Like, I never would want to put that on the player, but there's been enough issues where we've seen Bupenza yelling at Lucho, or we've
Yeah,
seen
yeah,
Brenner
you
yelling
see
at
it on the pitch.
Denke, or
Yeah, it's
where
easy
guys
to
just throw
see.
their hands up and are like, how did you not pass it to me? It's like, all right, we didn't get it that time, but go back at it. I know
Yeah.
the player's going to find me the next time. Like, it just feels like it every time they don't get the ball or it's perfect, then it's disastrous. And then, we're never going to score again. And they just put their head down. So there's an issue with that. So I think that comes back around to leadership, though. Like, again, like a coach can kind of put his own emphasis on it, but I think in some ways you need somebody that can keep players accountable and say, this is how we play as a team.